And with that, we'd like to close today.
No, that's not my fucking... I did just watch Shutter Island, and I couldn't fall asleep, and I was like, I remember, I want to talk to them about it, not, just...
Talk to them about what, bro? A movie that everyone has seen?
I don't know, man. I was fucking tired.
Has everyone seen it? That seems pretty absolute.
It's not a fucking niche thing.
I've never seen it. I have.
So how you gonna talk about it?
I was just curious if you've ever seen it.
How you gonna be about it? Give me a mic check over there, champion.
Mic check.
All right. We're hot, guys.
Ready to go.
We're hot, guys.
We're
Have
hot,
been
guys?
for some time now.
It's important to see. Well, I mean,
It's the lights.
the delays. How are we gonna start this? Oh, thank you. We do need to sync. That is important, and I didn't do that at all last time. You don't know why we do that, do you?
Yeah, so you can line everything up.
It's like the
sound.
tape.
We need one of those.
Yeah.
All right, so
And an on-air button for upstairs.
we're gonna do a welcome.
No, that's just whack.
Why?
Y'all do it, and I'll sit here like... Look at these fucking assholes.
Fucking losers.
Well, then we're gonna talk about what today? What are we talking about today?
Well,
Oh, what just popped up on the iPad? Is that?
your iPad can't be backed up.
Are you cheaped out and didn't get the upgraded iCloud?
Now, why the fuck would I get the...
On a $5,000 iPad, you need the upgraded storage.
This is a cheap one, man.
All right, we're gonna talk about what today? This is going well.
Oh, you really want me to... We're going to talk about insane asylums today.
Are they still called that?
They should be.
The way that you responded to that, I'm a little concerned about how much we're gonna really be able to discuss on this topic.
You guys got to read my notes.
Do we want to bring them in?
Let me start with a question.
Push this over
Okay.
here for you.
Let me start with a question.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen each other?
I almost spit out my drink, fucking asshole.
All right.
I saw it. It was
All right,
coming.
so we have been discussing what we want to do as far as topics for the show and trying to figure out where we're gonna land with what the show is gonna be. What is it gonna turn into? Are we gonna do guests? We've had a lot of different ideas, and ultimately it's like let's move forward with dialogue and let's just dive in.
Yeah.
And you had suggested Asylums.
Yeah.
As a
and-
topic.
And the other one. Sorry, I'm trying to be serious.
I just feel like you're fucking picking on me. I'm glad.
No, I was trying to get through that.
You couldn't even say this straight first because you know you're being a fucking asshole. It's insane. You got two things. You stupid motherfucker.
The other topic. The other topic. Brad, you want to pick it up?
The other topic was aliens.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow, we're
Like-
going far with this.
The ones from outer space, not the ones from Central America. So
Just Central America?
most of them.
If you read my notes,
It elaborated.
it didn't really say anything. How do you know that? If you thought I meant the ones from outer space this whole time, then the joke's on you.
All right, so we landed on Asylums. What? There must be something.
We didn't land on asylums.
Well, I mean,
Asylums landed
on us, yeah. So, what is it that drew you to that topic? Since genuinely, jokes aside, what was it that you were like, oh yeah, I want to do this topic? Do you have a personal relationship? Is there something specifically that intrigues you about it? What is it?
He's like, you mother...
Well, I don't know. We talked about how we were talking about topics for the podcast. And the idea for even starting a podcast, because these days everyone's like, hey, we should start a podcast. You should start a podcast. He should start, she should. But a little while back, Brad had mentioned to me, what I thought was a great idea for a podcast that everybody has a story. And literally anybody you walk up to in person, talk to them, anybody, and everything's interesting. Even if it's about nothing, it'd still be interesting. Like, you know, how the fuck do you do nothing all the time? You know?
Right.
Elaborate on that. But so when then as we started putting this thing together, and Brad said, yo, we should all come up with a list of ideas for topics. And I was struggling to come up with a topic, and I was like, man, I got to think of, like, what about me would be interesting? And so when I was 14 years old, my parents, I don't know, I was beefing with my parents and stuff. Long story short, I ended up in a psychiatric ward, actually 2 of them. And I was put there, like, cops took me there. Like, my parents couldn't get me out if I wanted to get out type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was there, ordered by the court to be there. And I was there for, like, I think, like, 4 months in the main one. And I just was like, yo, that part, because it was wild as fuck. That whole story is wild as fuck. And so I thought, so that's what gave me the idea for the topic of Asylums.
So I've known you for over a decade. And I don't know really anything about that specific period. I have what is probably a fairly typical sort of, I guess, idea of what either a ward or an asylum, all of those things kind of fall into the same pocket of, like, whatever Hollywood's kind of fed me. I'd be interested to whatever extent that you're willing to talk about that, especially as an adolescent. Like, at that stage in your life, your brain isn't developed all the way.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many things about that your mind at that time anyways that are abnormal, that are developing, that are changing. So what was your experience, especially for an extended period of time? 4 months at, you said 14 or 15?
14.
At 14, 4 months? I mean, you're talking about like 3% of your life in that, you know, at that point of your life.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, I mean, obviously it fucking sucked. But it's like, I gotta start at the beginning. So me and my parents have been beefing for a long time. You know, I was involved with the wrong shit, blah, 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 whatever. That's neither here nor there. It finally came to a breaking point where my mom had to call the police on me. That came to my parents' house. They arrested me, and my parents said they wanted to put a psychiatric hold on me.
Okay.
Like, we went in front of the magistrate. I can't believe I'm fucking telling a story. I've never told this story, ever. But, again, neither here nor there. So we went in front of the magistrate, and my parents, you know, fill out paperwork, whatever the fuck it is, and signed it. And then we had to go sit and wait. Like, we waited in front of the police station for the police to escort me to the psychiatric ward. While we were sitting there, it was like you know, everything with courts and shit takes fucking forever. So we were sitting there for like hours. I don't remember the exact time, 2-3 hours. And the whole time trying to, you know, persuade my parents to change their mind the entire time. I'm like, yo, I'll do this or that. I'm fucking, I'll go to Bible school, you know what I'm saying, become a priest, I'll do whatever, I'll tell them anything to not go through what I'm about to have to go through. And my mom's like, no, this has to happen. And she was right. Like, I wore my parents down so fucking much. It's not their fault, it's my fault. But my dad, I finally made him break. And he was like, you know, he's right, let's take him home, we'll try this. So they go to the magistrate and they tell her we'll take him home. And I don't really remember what the magistrate said, but they let my parents take me. And so we went home, and they're like, yo, this is your last chance. Blah, blah, blah. 30 minutes in the car, trip from the police station to the courthouse, back to my parents' house. We got to my parents' house, and we were there for like an hour. And I remember being upstairs in my bedroom. I was like playing video games, getting ready to go to bed. The doorbell rings. And my mom was like, yo, Pat, what do you do now? And I was like, what are you talking about, Mom? I haven't been here, I didn't do anything. She said, there's a police officer at the door. She opens the door, and he said to my mom, we have an order. This is on a Friday night, mind you. We have an order to take Patrick to, I want to say it was like Mount Vernon Psychiatric Ward, which was the hospital connected there, because all the others were full. Because we were close, where I was, that was further away than the hospital I was expected to go to. And so my mom's confused. She's like, what are you talking about, blah, blah, blah? And I was like, yeah, this got pushed through, and we have to take him. Like, legally, if he's here, we have to take him now. Like, you can't. And my dad's like, no, we called that off. And he's like, it's too late. The paperwork's been processed. We have to take him. And because it's a Friday, you guys, you know, you get in front of the judge, you tell him the story that you know what I'm saying, you retracted it, you didn't want to do blah, blah, blah. And most likely to let him go. And so they were like, but that won't happen until Monday because it's Friday, and that's when the court's opening again. So I had it, no matter what, I was going to. And at that point, the hospital I ended up in, because whatever reason, all the psych wards, I remember they were all full in the area. So I had to go to this one, and I couldn't be in a juvenile one. So I was put in an adult psych ward over the weekend.
At 14.
Yeah, and that shit was fucking wild, man. Like, like even for researching this, some of the shit I heard about, like people screaming all night and blah, blah, blah. And like, there was this old lady that thought I was her son. Like, I mean, old lady that was fucking, like, I had adolescent problems and anger, and you know what I'm saying? I was mixed in drugs and lots of fucked up shit. But I don't know, I didn't belong there. I mean, like,
right.
I did not fucking, and I was like, these people are really, like, that made me, like, I used to be like, you know, like, oh, motherfucker will fight me on crazy. I was like, oh, motherfuckers are really crazy.
Right, like
They're
there's
people
separate,
that are fucking, like shitting in their hands and smearing on the walls fucking crazy. Like, there's crazy motherfuckers out there. Anyway, I think it was cool.
You guys don't do that, really?
I stopped.
I do from time to time, just to reminisce. But it was cool because at that point I smoked cigarettes. I haven't smoked fucking probably like, I don't even know, 2 decades. But, so, and we could smoke cigarettes there, and, you know, it was, I don't know, it was an interesting experience. Except, well, I slept at night. I didn't know if it was dream the first night. I had a dream that someone was coming in and injecting me with something. And then it happened again the second night. And then, I can't wait to tell the story. And then it happened again the third night, and I had court, like I had to get up really early for court the next morning. And I don't remember going to court. My parents told me I was drooling on myself, I was slurring, like I was fucked up. Like, not, my mom was like, that was not you. And we know you didn't do that to yourself. You, like, my mom, I don't remember any of this. I mean,
how could you have done it to yourself? You're inside.
That's why my mom knew I didn't do it to myself.
Yeah.
Like, I know you weren't doing drugs. You were locked up. We had you on, you know what I'm saying? You weren't, if it wasn't prescribed to you, there's no way you were getting it. And I told my mom, I said, and this was like, let me get through the story first. So my parents tell me they retracted there's a psych hold, and the judge says, well, look at the condition this young man's in. I can't let him go with you. So we have to commit him, I guess, to
Have him evaluated by.
I had to go to an evaluation, but they put me straight into, I think it was Woodbury or Woodburn Mental Institution. It was in Northern Virginia, and I think the first thing was like I had to do like a 2-month program, but long story again. But so they take me there from court. I don't remember any of this, and when I get to the mental hospital, it's like my second or third day there, and I'm introducing myself for the first time to people. And they were like, oh, Pat, what's up, Pat? You all right, man? You okay now? I'm like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, what the fuck are y'all talking about? Like, man, are you joking? I was like, no. Like, dude, you've been running around, pulling down your pants. You've been saying there's worms in the water. You've been like, it seemed like you've been, like, you're a completely different person now. When I was introducing my Patrick, you know what I'm saying? I just got it. And then they're like, it's not Monday, it's Wednesday. And I was like, what?
You lost 5 days?
No, I think I lost I think it was like 2 days. I think it was like only Monday to Wednesday. But like, because I remember, that's interesting. I don't really remember much of the second days at the first mental hospital. But I remember them coming in and injecting me. It was in the middle of the night, all 3 times. And my parents knew it. And like my mom even found, like, because when I came to, she already knew when I came to at the second mental hospital on the Wednesday, she was like, yo, look at your arm. I was like, yeah, it hurts. She's like, hey, someone was shooting with you, stuff, like injecting, like you were definitely, did you have an IV? And I was like, no, I don't have an IV.
Just to set the stage a little bit better, what year approximately would this have been in? This is what, late 90s, early 2000s, say like 2001, 2000?
Around 2000. Around 2000, because it was around 2000.
So at the beginning of the 2000s,
yeah.
And I want you to continue. I think
good.
To offer a little bit of perspective to.
I'm probably not doing a good job telling the story.
And I don't want to interrupt you too much because I want to make sure you get through it.
No, you good.
I'm just curious, like time to, because I'm trying to put myself like, I'd like to better understand. First of all, what circumstances a parent would need to be in, not to cast judgment on anybody, but to say that a mental hold is the thing that is required.
Man, my parents tried everything. I was so defiant. And like looking back now, like I'm, having 4 kids, being a parent myself, I don't even know how I got to that place.
Right.
I don't know, but either way, I was very when I say defiant, it's to a level that I hope no one ever understands, and I think my mom and dad tried literally everything, everything.
Right, it's not to judge them or to say whether they did right or wrong.
I was involved with bad shit.
So you're in now for 5 days. It's on a Wednesday. You've lost time. What's going on now?
So they're telling me, and then as they're explaining to me what I was running around saying, like, I feel like pieces came back to me, and I was like, fuck, dude, it's like I've been tripping. And I said that to my mom came to visit me like that. They were like, yo, Pat's back to being himself now. My mom came, and she was like, I remember she's like crying. She's like, I didn't know if you were ever going to come. Like, you fucked up. You've been fucked up. And so we started talking about what happened, blah, 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 and I don't know whatever happened with it. We always talked about a lawsuit. So I know my parents believe me, which is kind of important, at least to me, when I think about this story, because where we were at, where our relationship was at that time and everything I was going through, it was weird to be...
Trusted?
Yeah. And I was like, oh good, they believe me, because it seems so fucking wild. Even like I'm doubting myself. Like, what the fuck is going on? But hearing all the kids tell me, running around my pants down, like I would never do some shit like that. Run around like telling like the worms on me, and like people were like, when I walk in the halls, like people were scared of me, and I smiled at them, and they'd be like, they look so odd. They were like, what the fuck is going on? They really thought I was crazy, and I was like, and then obviously I never got injected with any shit at that mental hospital, so they never saw that again. They're like, oh, this is the real you. As time went on, and like that shit, something was going on. Like everybody, they were like, something was fucking going on. But other than that, I mean, then at that point, that's the crazy part of it. At that mental hospital was all right. We watched movies. It's the first time I went to NA and AA, and there was, I don't know, I feel it was beneficial. I met a motherfucker this kid, Brian, he liked rap music and he wanted to learn how to rap, and he used to staple himself in his fucking veins in his arms, and he was younger than me. And like, I remember he found me on AIM. I mean, it shows how old I am, like years later. I was like, dude, you saved my life. Like, cause we were roommates at like the first 2 weeks I was in the hospital. I was like, dude, you saved my life. Like, I fucking write poetry and all that, and I was like, that's fucking dope, dude. So the adolescent, I don't know, I feel like that was way better than the actual psych ward that I was first put in. I don't know, that's my experience with it. In a nutshell.
Do you have any perceptions of why they medicated you at the first one? Or do you think it was...
I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea, neither do my parents. I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, do they do that
just common practice?
Yeah. Or is it to keep their numbers up so they can get incentives? Or I don't know if that's the thing. And
I mean, that was definitely where mine went at first. It was very weird. Like, I remember the nurse being like, just go back to sleep. As she's like shooting shit into me. I remember that. And I remember that so fucking vividly. And I feel like a crazy person even saying it. I can't believe I'm fucking saying it. I can't believe I'm saying it now, here.
Well, I mean, it's an important thing to process, dude, and to get out, because, I mean, here's the thing. Like, the little bit of research that I have done in the past, not even related to us discussing this topic, is I live in Stanton, Virginia, well, outside of Stanton, Virginia. And in Stanton, there's a place called the D. Jarnett Center. And D. Jarnett, he was a doctor, he was I believe, psychiatrist back in the late 20s into the 30s and 40s. And so he had a specifically facility for adults it was a insane asylum at the time, labeled such. He had that for a while. Something happened. He ended up switching and doing it for adolescents. So it was a mental, facility, rehabilitation center for adolescents.
Yeah. So 18 and below.
Yes.
All right.
So the thing was that he believed in sterilization. So at the time in the 30s, the belief was that
that was legal in Virginia.
100%.
Yeah.
And so the belief was that these issues were genetic. Yeah. And so you need to stop that. And so what was discovered after time has passed is that these facilities, not just adolescents, for all these places were the undesirables. So you could have people that literally, bipolar and things that at the time we didn't have the vocabulary for, that had mental issues, but you also had poor people poor of any color,
Yeah.
black and brown people. Well, not very many brown people in the area at that time, but African Americans were being housed there. If the jails were too full, they would take them from the jails and put them into the mental facilities. And so it is a thing that we have a pretty significant tradition in sort of utilizing as a secondary piece to the criminal justice system. So that's what's so interesting about your situation is that it still seems like that's occurring at least up until the 2000s, where you have a person that has, certain tendencies or characteristics. They're not living the best life, but instead of there being an option to rehabilitate or to do something proper for the person, you put them into these mental facilities. But yeah, the DeJarnette Center for that is wild because he did forced sterilization on like hundreds of kids, and he was quoted by Hitler. DeJarnette, the guy from Stanton, was quoted by Hitler about his sterilization project and how important it was because Virginia had labeled DeJarnette as like Man of the Year in like 1935.
Was he from Guatemala?
No, somehow he missed that. We did our own different sterilization. Well, the Spaniards did it. But yeah, I mean, it's a
Shots fired.
It's
I think that's inaccurate. I'm pretty sure. You have proof
of
that you
we didn't do the sterilization.
Sterilized properly.
Fingers crossed from now forward. How do you feel about sterilization for you now?
I wish that's what they were injecting me with at the mental hospital. Then I would want to. I'd give them money.
So, okay. So, once you get out, you said you haven't discussed
How
it.
does that process work? How were you eventually released? What
I was. Even
was it? Did it take a court order or a doctor referral?
Yeah, there was definitely like an exit process. I had to like get an interview. It was real weird. Once I got to adolescent place, my parents were more involved, but I still had to there were still guidelines, as far as I remember. And I remember at first I got to get out for like a lunch. It was over Thanksgiving, which is also my birthday, and I got to like be home for a day. Then it was a day and a night. Then like a week. And then it was like a slow process getting out. And my parents said they felt safe me coming back at home. And then there was an evaluation with one of the doctors, or maybe multiple doctors, and a whole write-up on me. And then I got out. Yeah, so.
It was a 4-month process in total.
It might have been, again, I don't know if it was 3, 4,
It was a while.
I was so fucked up. Between drugs and then going through that, I know it sounds crazy, but it's like a blur and not a blur.
What was it?
I also think now, talking about it now, I think I've blocked out so much about it. I can't fucking believe, I can't fucking believe I talked about it. But
you've never processed it. It happened, and then you just continued to live life.
Yeah, push it away.
It probably.
And that's probably what most people do. I know what most people do as far as any bad situation.
What's real weird, and I know the memories.
That's what I hear. I mean, I haven't had personal experience with it, but I hear a lot of seriously bad traumatic events end up getting just.
Yeah, I never think of, but I've never
brick wall it and just.
I've never thought of it as a traumatic event, and now sitting here talking about it, I was like, that shit was fucked up. And I remember being real mad when I first got out and came to, and all the people in the hospital thinking I was crazy, and I remember yo, what the fuck? Who did what to me? Because I put myself through hell, but I didn't do this. And that's what I was about to say. I know the memory's fickle, and I'm sure I've changed things in my brain, but I don't have a lot of vivid memories in my life, especially before my kids were born. I think I'm trying to be more with it and take moments to remember with the kids. But before the kids, I hardly remember anything. But there's so much about snapshots in that time frame of time that I absolutely remember.
Yeah.
I remember that fucking nurse coming 3 nights in a row and injecting me. I remember even coming to at the second hospital. It was like coming off of a trip, and it was like, what the fuck is going on? Where am I? I'm in a different place. Where are all these people? And then the kids start explaining to me yeah, who are you? What'd you do with the dude that's been here going crazy? I'm like, I'm crazy. I remember all that so vividly, and my memory seems to have blocked out so much more. It's just weird.
Well, I mean, it has to be something that has had an impact on you up to today. I mean, even if you're blocking it out, those formative years, those 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Oh shit, that ain't even half the shit that happened to me. But yeah.
And I mean, but specifically for this issue, it's something that like it's impossible that it didn't imprint upon you significantly.
Something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and create certain behavioral responses, engagements, those sorts of things today.
That's interesting. You're probably right. I'm sure you're right. That's
And I mean,
interesting.
and the other thing is like, bro, okay, so you know my son. My son is 13. He'll be 14 at the end of the year. Like, you were his age. You've met him and seen him. He's a kid.
Oh, that's weird.
And so, I mean, you
That
need
is fucking weird.
You need to offer yourself some grace, dude. Like, and you need to offer yourself probably like one of the things, because I'm, you know, I never had that experience, and it wasn't until my 30s that I got into my rehabilitation and coming out of my addiction. But like, one of the things that I've tried to figure out or understand better is relating to the person that I was when those memories occurred. Like, being the person to them that I would want in my life. So when I think about the trauma that happened when I was 13 and 14 and 15, same years, I try to offer myself the same kindness that I would give my son.
Let
right
me
now.
ask you something. Do you feel that you've, even without knowing that, do you feel you've become that person? That can offer, like you said, be the person you would want to, like, I have become, which is weird because I speak poorly about myself at every fucking turn, but I've become the person that I wish was there for me without even knowing it. And like, and don't, like, I still have my fucking flaws and I still have my vices, but it's to hear you say, it's like, yo, I fucking became that person without even, like, subconscious, like, it's weird.
I mean, I'm not a parent, but I mean, isn't that what most parents go through? I mean, I would think it was like, I went through all this. I don't want my
Oh, absolutely.
these are the bullet points.
Absolutely.
I don't want my kid to go through this or this or this or this. I'm going to do what I can
Absolutely.
to not necessarily expose them to those situations.
I don't think that that's inherent.
Like, I'm not going to call the cops and have them arrested and take them to the hospital.
I think that
I mean, that depends.
depends how bad it gets.
Declan was today fucking on the line tonight. He's only two, but he was right fucking there. No doubt.
I mean, I think that is. I think it really is a person-to-person thing.
Yeah.
I think that many of our traits that we have are cultivated as we move.
Yeah.
And so, when what you said, it's funny because a friend of mine sent me this thing, because you know it's the internet and the internet's wonderful or terrible, but it was like,
It's all those things.
right now you're the person that you needed when you were a kid, and like that hit me in such a way, like that's what I want to be.
But it's interesting because that's true for you, because I know you, and that's true for me. And Brad's a good man and wasn't always perfect. But I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that's not their experience.
No,
But
absolutely.
honestly, at the same time, yes, I would be a good person to talk to myself, 15, 20 years ago.
Uh-huh.
But 16-year-old me, 18-year-old me, 21-year-old me would still not be listening to me.
Oh, sure.
Without doubt.
But it's not about.
But I could fuck little me up right now. So.
It's not about changing that person. That person
Yeah.
was necessary to create this person. What I'm talking about is offering ourselves forgiveness. Because I'll tell you that for most of my life, after the traumatic events occurred, if I thought back to it, it was me belittling myself in some way or another and not being kind. That happened, man up, this is the thing, you could have done better. It was an aggressive perspective that I had on myself. None of that matters. That time has passed.
But did you
Yeah,
think of it?
that's-
Did you view it? I never viewed any of this as trauma. Like, it was just life.
I didn't realize that until more recently. And I am hesitant into the word trauma because it gets used ugly.
Yeah,
But
it's
I mean-
almost a blanket term now.
Yes,
For so many
yeah.
people.
But it's actual. What you're talking about is like actual fucking like, cause I can't stress you. Like, I'm sitting here as y'all talking, I'm listening, I'm trying to be present, but it's also like I fucking can't believe I just talked about that.
Yeah,
Until that
you're
story.
also still processing the whole thing, right?
Yeah, like I don't,
Yeah.
I don't fucking, and not even by design. It was just like it's not like I'm ashamed of it. It's not something I want to hide. It's not any. I don't even know why I haven't talked about it. But as I'm talking, I'm like, holy fuck, I haven't heard this story except in my head.
So that's
a lifetime.
Right.
So for me, it's been shame. For me, for me to talk about, alcoholism, or for me to talk about, just different things that I've had in my life, and even right now I'm doing it. It's a shame thing. It's been in my head for so long that you just got to man up. Like, which is such a, we understand that that's a wrong way to look at life now.
Yeah.
Is it?
But like that has been my thing, and
That's
and
been
I
my
am,
whole upbringing. Like, it's like
and that's
I
my
live my life by that.
exactly, and I have as well. But I want
You can be third, you can be fourth.
I want I want to try to live a life that allows that the time and energy that I've spent in my head judging and qualifying and passing shame, like no
On
one else
yourself.
experiences it.
No.
Exactly, no one else experiences. It's me. I torture myself.
You're just burning yourself.
That's it. And so what I'm saying is, if
And
there's
now you have
any
me,
other person
MP.
to help me with that, if there's any
Yeah, I'm
other
burning you
person that's in a similar situation, that they have been in that feedback loop of like, when you revisit a memory, it's more negative commentary and more, just harboring on those negative things, that offering space of forgiveness and an opportunity to move out of that is going to give me the ability to spend my mental energy and time on positive things, on things that are going to be beneficial to me and to the people I care about. It's a sense of selfishness for me to be selfless for other people. Like that's been my thing that I really believe.
So the hook for the whole thing is that you need to forgive yourself.
Right.
But at the same time, you need to actively work on improving your situation and
Yes.
in regards to whatever.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
important, right? Because it is really just this crunchy, like, just be nice to yourself.
When it comes to, that mental battle with yourself.
It is work, bro. It is a everyday wake up and have intention to make things better.
But your experience and what you're talking about, I think, is different than mine. Like
In this aspect, because, I mean, he was...
also, again,
Now, what led to you maybe being put in that
and you know what? And so maybe
situation?
it's not that different because I am angry. Even if I'm sure I was angry at the way I treated my parents.
Right.
So maybe you are right. I need to free myself for that shit. And
Yeah.
but again, like as far as like, I've never even thought about that whole experience until right fucking now.
Yeah.
So I don't know, hearing you say it, but like I guess like Brad said, I think I'm still processing it. So I'm like, oh. But yeah, I do. Yeah, you are right. I do have to free myself for that shit. And I probably never will. That's why I still talk poorly about myself.
I think, and we joked a lot about the asylum thing, and we've joked a lot about the topics and whatnot. But I do think, like, I mean, I love you.
Well,
Like you are my brother.
I love you too.
And like the thing is that when you were the first one to bring up topics, and the first topic was the asylum
That's
thing.
so interesting. That's fucking interesting.
That says a
yeah.
lot about what I mean. Just hearing you and the fact that you haven't
because
just,
also when I picked this, I never thought we would talk about. I didn't even think it would be brought up.
I remember him clearly saying, like, upstairs in the kitchen, and he's like, we're not talking about it. We're not talking
So
about
I
life.
truly consider-
Like all the bullet points that he has, all the bullet points he has have nothing to do with like his experience.
It's like the history of
Asylums.
mental illness.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the purpose of the podcast is that we don't know fuck all. Like the only thing that we do know are our experiences, and so the things that we can relate to are what we know.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that it offers me a lot of insight when you're like, this is the topic I want to talk about.
But maybe subconsciously that's what you
That's
just...
exactly.
Yeah.
This is your way to...
You needed to get that off your chest.
You need to get there.
You need to share it.
This is like therapy.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is podcast
This is
therapy.
therapy.
Yeah.
That's so when you guys asked me about this, my only intention was to come here and feel better for myself. Like that's it. Like this is my therapy, to be around people that I enjoy being around, to be able to talk about whatever the fuck it is we're
P's
talking
life
about.
sucks, so how am I feel?
Now I feel better because clearly you're fucked up going to a crazy house at 14. So I was better. I was only homeless. You were in a crazy house.
Yeah, I was homeless.
And you're much older than me, so that was like
I'm
I was
2
still a
months
little
older.
baby.
I'm 2 months older.
Baby. No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Your birthday's the 22nd of November, mine's 25th.
Yeah,
Wow,
motherfucker
we're
with
putting
different
dates out
birth
there.
years.
You know what? We're also a social is
226. Well, I don't know, man. I think that an opportunity to dig into that and to give you the space to talk about it, and it's impossible that someone won't relate to your vulnerability in that. And it doesn't have to be the same situation.
Well,
it's the vulnerability.
right now I feel like a little bitch.
Well, you're always a little
You
bit.
say vulnerability.
Yes.
I feel like a little bitch. I'm like, why
Yeah.
the fuck did I say that
Yeah,
shit?
our group text is gonna be me sending you a lot of memes about you being a little bitch.
Like crazy people.
Crazy little
Hey, look,
bitch.
it's bad. Good.
Yeah. Well, I think that we should probably.
no, but I appreciate you sharing that, brother.
I appreciate y'all listening. I'm gonna fuck you up. So I guess all these notes are for nothing.
Did you want to go through them?
I have one
hold on.
question. I have one question.
Oh yeah. I know you
We
wanted
can
to
go
wrap
through
it
at
up
least
with an
one.
important question.
We can go through at least
Wait,
one.
hold on. I want to go. Actually, I want to do this. I think this is important. So we're gonna go through a couple facts. Are these facts? Is that what this is?
Did
Did you get this from cited websites? Are they like? Are these
Did
official
you,
facts?
No,
did you know that originally asylums were like
You got this.
funded by were originally funded by the wealthy, and they were like little utopia towns, like big lavish gardens, huge architectural.
Yeah, that's why
like,
they all look so beautiful. You ever see
crazy
all that?
build, because they like originally it is what it's kind of coming full circle now. Originally it was intended that you would go there to actually be in nature, kind of find yourself and be reintroduced back into society.
So
It was
some
never
shit you
meant
would
to
do.
be like we're gonna drug you up and
Well, if you're on enough drugs, won't it look like that to you?
now that's how it is.
Yeah.
Nah, but when it changed, like people
But
like
yeah, and then they started getting overwhelmed with clients. we'll say.
yeah.
Yeah. So then it started becoming government funded, and once it became government funded, then they took
Oh
on
God,
more
are you just
and
circling
more.
now back to being a government
It's
problem?
like this. No,
Don't trail
it was
me,
like
motherfucker.
this. It was just like this. Just this downward spiral, and it got to the point where they were lobotomizing people. They were forcefully.
No, but like there was a wife put in because like her husband, she practiced a different religion than her husband. They put a kid in there because he touched himself too much,
Like,
jerked off too much, and the mom said like it was out of control, uncontrollable. So they put him in the hospital. And
what
never-
was he doing at home? Like, was he just walking around? Like, I mean, if you're just in the middle
What-
of
what
a
was
dinner,
that?
When I read that,
Wasn't
I
there
was
a
like,
TV show where there was like a chronic masturbator and they like cut off all his fingers except for two, something? To get him to stop doing it.
but he could still. If you
I
have,
think-
I
think
figured
it's a
he could
porno.
still do it, but I think he was like also an accountant, so they wanted to make sure that he could.
he was a kid that was an accountant.
no, he
was he a
an
genius?
adult. He was an
Oh, did
yeah,
you
what
have,
movie is that?
Did you have an issue with chronic masturbation?
Have.
Fair.
Oh well, that explains
I
everything.
want to get to the topic.
That's what I was thinking when I heard that. I was like, I would
But
be. I'd be in the
but
hospital.
now they're slowly becoming more and more like they were originally intended. It's kind of like
holy
coming
crap.
back around. Yeah.
Henry Fraser, 1883, was sent to a mental institution in New Orleans because his mother said he played with himself to the point of complete exhaustion. That's why I play with myself. I'm trying to get Tucker
trying
out.
to
It's
go
at the-
to sleep.
Yeah, at the end of
So
the night.
you belong in a mental hospital.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine.
Isn't there some kind of like chemical release in your brain for men anyway? Like after
Oxytocin?
you
Is that what the thing is?
climax, that makes you like sleepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say
for
climax-
guys, that's like a sleeping pill. It's
When
like
when you say climax, what do you mean?
I mean like ejaculate. Yeah. Like
I just wanted to see how scientific.
come
you
all
get.
over your wife, make babies, whatever.
In
You guys are
1904, only
insane for that,
27.8% of asylum patients in
Long
the U.S.
asylum.
had been institutionalized for a year or less. The vast majority are long-term cases.
Were long-term cases.
Long-term cases. That one makes sense.
So people, most of them were there for more than a year.
Yep.
That's fucking wild.
So they weren't getting a whole lot of new people.
So they weren't fixing people.
Well, I mean, why? Because then you have money if
Correct.
they stay there.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right, treatment types. This is fun.
But that's kind of also what
let's
my question was. What do you think they
You're
were
about to talk
injecting
shit
you
about
with
me.
all that
I can
stuff
tell.
for?
No.
I can tell by the way you're
No.
smiling. Like this
I'm
motherfucker.
getting there.
No, no.
Well, I want to do a game. Okay, we're gonna do a guessing game.
All right.
I want you. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4.
I wish I had a little
treatment
puppet
types.
on a fucking trike right now.
There's 4 treatment
Rolling the
types
bill.
that they were doing. I guess I don't know. At some point in the 18 or 1900s, I don't. It doesn't specify. Good job, P. I want you to guess a kind of treatment type for the crazy people.
It's right around 1900s.
Or 1900s.
Maybe.
I feel really bad because
Just name
this
anything.
list has been sitting here for a while.
And you don't look at it at all. Not at all.
He's like, oh, fucking
Give
stupid.
me just one.
Some fucking idiot took notes.
The the spinning wheel thing.
Oh, he did read it.
Yeah.
It's the first one.
I know. I told you.
High-speed spinning wheel,
Yeah.
harnessing patient and swinging them.
Like violently.
Well, that doesn't. Oh,
No,
yeah, we should
like-
put violently in here, like swinging them, like wee. Like this
not-
nice
yeah,
little like.
Swinging.
You have to
How
elaborate.
do you violently swing somebody?
Branding patients with a hot iron. I want to be branded. Like, I've got a lot of tattoos. I want to.
I don't think they were doing it by choice. It was
That's
like,
what
what do
you
you
want
want?
now?
Oh, they wanted to take a request.
They're like, shut up.
Lobotomies and electroshock therapy. Okay, this is interesting, and I think
I think that was some of the most popular stuff. was-
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting, and I'd like to maybe in a future episode bring somebody in to talk about it. Apparently, electroshock therapy is something that's still being utilized, and it's something that's utilized with great success.
I had electroshock therapy for physical therapy when I had crushed my meniscus in my knee.
Yeah, but that was on a muscle, not your brain. So I think that's a little different.
The brain's a muscle, isn't it?
It,
It's an organ.
organ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Organ.
Largest organ, right?
Largest? Maybe.
No, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Your penis must be
But
small.
the electroshock
No.
therapy apparently is still being utilized and with like
Yeah.
great success. But it's for like severe issues, like severe bipolar,
Right.
severe schizophrenia.
Now I've heard of.
I don't think lobotomies are though. I think that's a little bit. too
No,
far.
no, I think that's all but been.
Yeah, like not a good idea.
Yeah, told.
Did that happen to you when you're? Is that?
Well, that
Who
explains.
knows?
a
I'm
lot.
missing a few days. I guess you are by days. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but have you seen that?
I do feel stupid.
Does your back door still
Still,
not fully closed?
well,
Are we talking about my butthole? Yeah. It doesn't ever close.
Since you were 14. Well,
that explains.
problem solved. Mystery solved. Now we know.
Now you know.
That's why your farts sound like.
I like how we all tuned in. We can't get an intro right with our name, but we can all get an unobstructed fart noise. Yes.
All right. So I
No.
think I did a couple facts. Do you want to go ahead and wrap it up with with your key fact? I just want to honor the time and effort that you put into this very detailed fact list.
It's more of a question than a fact.
Oh, it's a question. So everything else are facts except for the last part.
I was fall asleep. I was a little bit.
But we don't need to qualify it. It's fine.
All right. So the question is,
Yes, we're ready. Hold on. Are you ready, Brad? Let's get it.
I'm not. Yeah.
Give it to us.
Let's do it.
have y'all ever seen Shutter Island?
I think we ended that.
All right.